Thank you, Greg. A guilty verdict was handed down this morning for Venezuelan illegal immigrant 26-year-old Jose Ibarra. He's been on trial for the murder of 22-year-old Georgia nursing student Laken Riley back in February. Judge Patrick Haggard found Ibarra guilty of all 10 charges against him, including 4 counts of murder, aggravated assault with attempt to rape, and kidnapping. Sentencing is scheduled for 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time today. Prosecutors are seeking life in prison without the possibility of parole. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg wrote Judge Juan Merchan Tuesday asking for a stay of his New York case against Donald Trump until he leaves the Oval Office in 2029. Bragg stated, quote, given the need to balance competing constitutional interests, consideration must be given to various non-dismissal options that may address any concerns raised by the pendency of a post-trial criminal proceeding during the presidency, such as deferral of all remaining criminal proceedings until after the end of defendant's upcoming presidential term. Trump spokesman Stephen Chung told Fox News Digital, quote, the lawless case is now stayed, and President Trump's legal team is moving to get it dismissed once and for all. As part of the orderly transfer of power, Donald Trump is now receiving classified intelligence briefings at his Mar-a-Lago home from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. According to the Washington Post, the briefings began after Trump's win in the November 5th election. This process is customary and represents one of the earliest parts of the presidential transition process. A New York Post report says the briefings are the first that Trump has received since the FBI raided his Florida home in August of 2022 after the former president was accused of unlawfully retaining classified documents. Mike?
Fiora, the list of people nominated by Donald Trump to be in his cabinet continues to grow. On Tuesday, the president-elect nominated Cantor Fitzgerald CEO Howard Lutnick as Commerce Secretary. The 63-year-old is co-chair of Trump's transition team. In a statement, the future president said this: Lutnick will lead our tariff and trade agenda with additional direct responsibility for the Office of the United States Trade Representative. The Commerce Department plays a key role in regulating international trade with the U.S. as well as promoting economic growth domestically. Also nominated on Tuesday, Donald Trump's other transition team co-chair, Linda McMahon. She will head the Department of Education for as long as there is one. It's an agency expected to be on the chopping block once the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, starts to get rid of government waste. McMahon was the head of the Small Business Administration in the first Trump administration. And Dr. Oz will also be joining Team Trump as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator. In a statement, Trump said Dr. Oz will work with Robert F. Kennedy to take on the illness industrial complex. Some top U.S. intelligence officials are choosing to exit on their own before the new Trump administration takes power and sends them packing. According to a report released Monday by the Project on Government Oversight, inspector generals at the CIA and the Office of Director of National Intelligence have taken steps to leave their posts. Here's Donald Trump from March of 2023 on his plan to dismantle the deep state.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them.
In respect to incoming intelligence chiefs, the president-elect has nominated former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe to head the CIA and former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to be the new DNI. No change at the FBI has been announced yet. New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries won re-election on Tuesday as the Democrats' leader in the House of Representatives with no challenger. As a whole, the 2024 election was disappointing for the party as the GOP flipped the Senate and the White House and maintained a majority in the House. House Democrats are said to have consoled themselves with personal victories in battleground states and winning key seats in New York to keep the Republicans' majority razor thin. Since the Republicans' strong showing on Election Day, a number of Democrats have acknowledged that their party needs to revamp its messaging. Greg.
Republicans gaining control of the presidency, Senate, and House in the 24 elections are facing both opportunities and challenges in advancing conservative reforms, including the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. This legislation mandates proof of U.S. citizenship to vote in federal elections and directs states to remove non-citizens from voter rolls. While the SAVE Act passed the House earlier, the bill stalled in the Democrat-controlled Senate, despite the fact that GOP will take control of the Senate with 53 seats in January. The filibuster, requiring 60 votes for the passing of most Senate legislation, remains a significant hurdle. According to the Federalist, some lawmakers are optimistic that negotiations and potential bipartisan support might push the SAVE Act and similar legislation forward. Joining us now is Representative of Virginia's 11th District, Congressman Bob Good. Welcome back to Victory News, sir.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having me again.
Okay, something you know about, the House passing that SAVE Act mandates proof of U.S. citizenship to getting non-citizens off voter rolls. It's sitting in the Senate, gathering dust. Will it make it out of a Republican-led Senate this year?
Not sure. I think, unfortunately, there'll be some diminished attention to it simply because we got through the last election and the Republicans are the ones who want the SAVE Act. It's Republicans who stand for election integrity and don't want illegals voting in our elections or non-citizens voting. And it's Republicans who want to clean up voter rolls. Well, Republicans prevailed. So I suspect there will be a little bit less attention on it. However, we ought to be looking to pass that before the 26 midterms. It is important for states to be able to do what Virginia tried to do, my own home state, where Governor Youngkin worked to take 6,000 non-citizens off the voter rolls. We ought to make that the law of the land through the SAVE Act. That would both prohibit illegals from voting in federal elections and require the removal of non-citizens from the election rolls as well. So I hope Republicans will push for it.
Let's talk a little bit about his cabinet. The President-elect Trump has announced more nominations yesterday, including Howard Lutnick for Commerce, Linda McMahon for the Department of Education, and Dr. Oz for Administrator of the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. Congressman, your reaction to Trump's choices and the speed that he's using in these announcements?
Well, it's a great improvement, if you will, from 8 years ago. He's obviously got the experience of 4 years in office and experience of suffering through what he did with the deep state and the bureaucrats unelected who were opposing him during his administration. And so I think the theme is we're bringing outsiders in to change Washington. You can't change Washington with the people who are here. And he's bringing those who will be disruptors and those who will dismantle and those who will help advance his agenda and not be beholden to the way we've done things in the past.